I told you Kendrick Lamar is playing chess and not checkers. A lot of you didn't believe me, but now do you believe me? Kendrick just announced over the weekend that he's going to be performing at the Super Bowl halftime show in New Orleans. Everybody's talking about it, and we got to break down Kendrick's announcement, which I think has a few shots at Drake. Let me know what you think when we listen to it together. And it's a big conversation about, is Kendrick the right choice? What's going to be on his track list? And what people from New Orleans and the music business are saying. So let's talk about it. This announcement came out of nowhere. The NFL season has just started, so it's very early to be already announcing Super Bowl performers. But you know what, Kendrick? It's always about the surprise. It's that element of surprise that he really leans on. And he announced that he's performing at Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans. So let's check out the announcement.
Give me one more. Ah! Come on. Two more. Just like that. You ready? Exactly. What the deal, everybody? My name Kendrick Lamar.
Like we didn't know.
Super Bowl 59. Will you be pulling up?
Yes, I will.
I hope so. You know it's only one opportunity to win a championship. No round twos. Let's get it.
Okay, how is that not a shot at Drake? There's only one opportunity to win the championship, no round twos. If you saw, I posted a video not too long ago how Drake had mentioned a game two, and a lot of people thought that it was him kind of prodding the bear and hoping that Kendrick would come out for another round of the rap battle. But yeah, look at Kendrick saying there is no round two. He already won the championship and the game is over. That's funny.
Boom! I won't want you to miss it. Meet me in New Orleans, February 9th.
I will.
Wear your best dress, too, even if you're watching from home. Let's go. Yay!
What am I supposed to wear?
Now we can get to it for real. Come on, you gotta make sure you catch it with the hands open like that. We running real routes, you gonna be messing up.
Now, it's interesting. If you scroll down and look at the credits for that video, it says directed by Dave Free, and the production company is PG Lang and Project 3. Dave Free, he is showing by directing this video that him and Kendrick are good. If you remember, that was one of the targets that Drake had during the rap battle. Drake had alleged that Dave Free had some sort of like secret child with Whitney, who's Kendrick's girl. It was a whole confusing like hip hop love triangle. But like Dave showing up in the Not Like Us video and also directing that video, and now he's directing this Super Bowl spot, Kendrick and Dave are showing that they're still tight and that whatever Drake said, whether it's wrong or right, they're still good. So that's huge for Kendrick to be performing at the halftime show at Super Bowl. I don't think I've ever seen a rollout like this in music, period. From the way he handled the rap battle with Drake, then he does the pop out on Juneteenth. He drops the Not Like Us visual on July 4th. Again, these are very important dates in American history. And then he shows up on the biggest stage with America's national pastime, which is football. And if you even look at the imagery, there's a huge American flag behind Kendrick. This continues to just underscore that Kendrick is America, Kendrick is one of us, and that Drake is somehow the other. That's the narrative that Kendrick has pretty much created throughout this rap battle, and it's interesting to see the Super Bowl being a part of it as well. I've even predicted that Kendrick will perform at the White House during the inauguration. We've already seen Not Like Us being played during the DNC when California was giving out their delegates. You hear Not Like Us in the background. Kendrick's got the verse on freedom, and that actually closed the final night of the Democratic National Convention. So I think Kendrick is in all of the spots of pop culture. He's got hip hop, he's got music at large, he's got sports, he's got politics. I mean, he's hitting every single touch point. And it's funny because I'm sure there's people who are watching the Super Bowl halftime show who aren't really familiar with Kendrick or his discography. They probably had no idea what was going on in the rap battle. So this just amplifies Kendrick to every single demographic. Who would have predicted that a rap battle would take it this far? Now, here's the question. Will Kendrick perform Not Like Us at the Super Bowl halftime show? That I'm not so sure about. If you look at historically, the Super Bowl and especially the NFL is pretty conservative when it comes to the artists that they pick or even the imagery that they like to put out with their name on it. They tend to be on the more conservative side. Who can forget the big Janet Jackson snafu with the wardrobe malfunction? And after that, it went very much like that was too PG-13, so we got to pull it back. This is a family-oriented show. We want everyone from like the little kids to the grandmas to be able to watch the halftime show. So I wonder if behind the scenes, what conversations are being had with the NFL, Rock Nation, who has been producing the halftime show for some time now. What are the conversations going on behind the scenes? If I had to guess, I could see Kendrick performing maybe just like the hook to Not Like Us. So he's not going to go into the actual lyrics, calling Drake an alleged pedophile. I think that might be a little bit too much for the Super Bowl. I mean, at the end of the day, no matter what happens, the NFL wants to keep a good relationship with Drake. They want to keep a good relationship with Drake's label and things like that. So I don't think Kendrick will go just full on crazy Kung Fu Kenny, but I could see him maybe doing just like the hook to the song. Maybe you'll hear like a band, like a New Orleans, like horn section. Maybe they'll just play like the instrumental parts of the song. I could see something like that happening. But do you think that Kendrick's going to be able to perform Not Like Us? I could just see way too much backlash. Like once the average NFL viewer who has no idea what's going on, when they figure out what those lyrics mean, I could just see way too many angry letters. But what do you think? So yesterday at 11:56 a.m., I received the official press release of Kendrick performing at the Super Bowl, and there's some interesting information that I wanted to share with you. Now, the first is this quote from Kendrick himself. He says, "Rap music is still the most impactful genre to date, and I'll be there to remind the world why. They got the right one." Okay, how is that not a shot at Drake? They got the right one, meaning that Kendrick, he's the representative of rap music and not some other artist, in this case, Drake. Now, this is what Jay-Z has to say. As you know, Jay-Z is the head of Rock Nation, so he's very involved in what's going on with the NFL and the Rock Nation partnership. Kendrick Lamar is truly a once-in-a-generation artist and performer. His deep love for hip-hop and culture informs his artistic vision. He has an unparalleled ability to define and influence culture globally. Kendrick's work transcends music, and his impact will be felt for years to come. Sean Jay-Z Carter. Has Jay-Z ever said anything like that about Drake? Has anyone ever said anything like that about Drake? Again, notice this narrative. Kendrick represents hip hop. Kendrick is a cultural leader, both in America and globally. And Kendrick is a once-in-a-generation performer. He's somebody who's going to change history. He's someone people will be talking about for years to come. If you keep scrolling down on the press release, I also thought this was very interesting. It says creative direction for Lamar's performance will be provided by PG Lang. So there you have it again. Dave Free is in on this. Dave Free and Kendrick are still working together. They're partners in everything that they do. So Drake's accusations against Dave Free, just more and more, they just don't seem to hold water. This announcement of Kendrick performing at the halftime show has everybody in the music industry talking. Pusha T said something on Instagram. This is what he said in case you missed it. Master P, who's working very closely with the NFL because obviously New Orleans is his hometown, he seemed to give a cosign to Kendrick performing, but not everyone was happy. Fans and even artists like Cameron spoke out and said it should have been Lil Wayne to headline. Master P even said that Lil Wayne should perform with Kendrick. He said, "We have to give our legends their flowers while they are here." Last year, I saw Lil Wayne perform at the Hip Hop 50 show up in the Bronx, and he did an amazing set. Lil Wayne has so many hit records, so many guest verses, that he does a really solid set. And of course, Lil Wayne and Cash Money are from New Orleans. Cash Money and No Limit really put New Orleans on the hip hop map. Before that, nobody was thinking about what was going on in the South, and those two labels were instrumental in this independent philosophy. It was selling records out of the trunk of their car. They were the ones who signed these landmark distribution deals with record labels. So no one can say that Cash Money and No Limit don't have a huge impact, because they absolutely did. I think that said, we have to remember what goes into booking a Super Bowl halftime artist. I can just tell you, after talking to some people who have a lot of insights into how the NFL works, historically, halftime conversations happened the minute one Super Bowl ended. They were trying to figure out who would be the performer for the next halftime show. Sometimes these conversations would take months. Other times it was years, just back and forth going with certain artist teams. Like, hey, one day we want to lock you in. When can it happen? When are you going to be on tour? When are you going to be available? So these were very long-term conversations. I do think things changed once Roc Nation became a part of the conversation. I can see that Jay and the Roc Nation team really taking on a leadership role, suggesting artists for the halftime show, maybe even going into the Roc Nation situation and seeing who they have signed. Because Roc Nation understands music, understands culture, I could see the NFL leaning much heavier on them than they did in the past. And if we're going to take a step back, who is the biggest rapper right now? Not just by name, but who's got the records, who's got a body of work, and who can do such a big stage. Most new artists just can't fill an arena. They don't know how to work such a big stage, and the Super Bowl is literally the biggest stage in the world. Somebody like Kendrick can do it. Plus, don't forget, during that whole West Coast Super Bowl halftime show, Kendrick came out. So this is something that he's already done. He has that comfort level. But we know maybe the halftime conversations about Kendrick being the headliner started as far back as when Dre was doing the Super Bowl. Maybe part of the conversation was like, yeah, Kendrick will be a cameo, he'll be a guest star now, but down the line, we do want him to be a headliner. Usually what happens is, regardless of who the headliner is, artists from that city will take the stage. So I think it would be great to see Lil Wayne take the stage, Juvenile, maybe some of the No Limit people. I know I might be in the minority, but I would love to just, have a Silk the Shocker moment. I know he wasn't the best artist. He could never rap on beat. But just for my own little middle school heart, I would like to see what Silk the Shocker is up to. Plus, it's New Orleans. They have such a rich history in music. We're probably going to see somebody like a John Baptiste or Trombone Shorty. There's so many incredible musicians who come out of that city. But let's just imagine you have Lil Wayne, Birdman, and all of Cash Money on stage with Kendrick Lamar. And who's missing? Drake is missing. Cash Money, and specifically Young Money, helped put Drake on the map. So the fact that he won't be on that stage, but in fact it's going to be his biggest rival, I think is going to be a crazy moment. Just imagine Drake at home watching this Super Bowl halftime show. Regardless of whether Kendrick performs all of Not Like Us or just a snippet, because this is a family-oriented program, I think this is going to be an incredible halftime show. You got Kendrick Lamar, the biggest rapper in the world, and then the backdrop of New Orleans, with such a rich history, not only in hip-hop, but just in music in general. I think it's going to be an incredible halftime performance. What do you think? Do you think Kendrick Lamar is the right artist to headline the Super Bowl halftime show? Do you want him to perform Not Like Us? Or do you think, you know what? He's already dead. We don't need to keep, beating the dead horse, Aubrey. What do you think? Let me know in the comments.